to have, why are we recording this? Because at some point in the future, I'm pretty sure we'll be like, whoa, we'll be like, how do we set KPIs? But as leaders too, what I want to share with you gentlemen is not just like the fruit, but the process of how to actually set KPIs. What is the thought process? Setting KPIs is the ultimate way of leading leaders, if that makes sense. So at some point, remember, being a chapter lead or being project manager means that you're managing people. But if the people that you're managing can't lead, then you are not really leading at all, right? So if the people that you're working with can lead, then you automatically have become that next role. For example, if you're, let's say, vice president of a company and you still have to go, let's say you're vice president of sales and you still handle the majority of sales calls, then that means you have not shared your skill or how to manage your skill to other people yet, right? So this, I'm hoping today can be a way that we share, but this document is actually for you guys. This document is so that later on, when there's new people in, and I hope you're seeking like a career here, right? If you're seeking a career, you're going to have to be able to teach somebody who's new how to do this process. And instead of kind of like, oh, where do I go? I remember that thing that Jing taught me years ago. I hope that you can come back and just refer to this process of how we're going to do it, because I've thought about this for a while. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. So we need to make it a project. We need to make it aligned to the vision. It needs to have a feedback cycle, right? A lot of these things that we make as projects, they do not have feedback cycles, so we do not know whether or not this is working correctly. We need to have management, so that means somebody needs to look over it. And management then needs monitoring. So we need to actually monitor, somehow visualize the KPI as, this is a little bit meta, so this is a little bit weird for you guys, right? So normally what you see on a dashboard is you see the KPIs on a dashboard. But how do you measure if your measurement is actually correct? A little bit weird, right? So how do you measure if you're measuring the right things? Let's say, for example, you focus only on profit at Bukit Vista. So all you care about is Bukit Vista making profit. Yeah, that's your KPI, but how will partners feel? How will guests feel, right? So every time there's a refund opportunity, we go no, right? Every time a partner asks for something, we go no. That interferes with our profits. So we're not really able to grow anything else besides that profit. Over time, that profit will diminish anyway, right? So we should focus on KPIs that actually bring alignment to our mission and alignment to our vision, right? And what the power of the vision is. Does this KPI actually support what we really want to do as a company? Or is it a temporary KPI until something else better happens, okay? So that part I need you guys to really embrace. All right, next is how we're going to begin. And the way we begin is through this cycle. This is a board, and it's a matrix for how we discover KPIs, controls, KPIs, and OKRs for HR. Okay, so I'll bring you guys through this process, and let's go over and take a look at this. So the first part, I'm going to copy over, and I'm just going to bring this over to this page right here, and I'm going to share this page to both you gentlemen. So Tendi, Bukit Vista, and Andre, Bukit Vista. Okay. All right, cool. So you both have access to it. All right, just let's ask ourselves a question, right? And we probably need two boards. We need one for HAR, and we probably need one for community, all right? Okay, so let's take that. Okay, all right. Let's start with our vision. Let's see if anybody remembers the vision. Let's go to Tendi. Tendi, what's the vision of the company?
Okay, sorry. Okay, the vision of the company become the most innovative hospitality service for partner, team, and employee.
Okay.
Inspired delight. Sorry. Yes.
All right. We really need to get this straight, right? So I'm going to spend a little bit more time on getting this correct.
Yeah.
There's a difference, right, between vision and mission. Mission is what we seek to accomplish every day, right? Vision is what we aspire to be. So what we aspire to be is a statement that says, what will Bukit Vista eventually be doing? like forever, right? If it succeeds.
Oh, I see.
Right?
So the vision, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go over to
Hello,
Andre. Andre, what's the vision of the company?
hello,
Vision
guys.
inspire delight everywhere, everyone, and every time.
Everywhere, everyone, every time. Okay,
Every
great.
time.
So that's so you can feel that, right? You can feel what that feels like to inspire delight everywhere, everyone, every time. It's very challenging. That's why it's a vision. It's not like we're there yet, but it gives us at least a goal. It gives us a way to say, are we doing things that are right? Do the core values support this? Are we doing something that actually is aligned to that? As long as we're doing something that's aligned to that, we're probably going the right way. Okay, that's the purpose of a vision. It's to give you as leaders a way of evaluating if a decision is any good. Like for example, sorry to pick on you, Tendy, but okay, this was something I remember. Right, if we let's say we decide we're going to charge guests for doing an on-site inspection, we have to ask ourselves, does that inspire delight everywhere, every time, everyone? Maybe not, right? Maybe the guests wouldn't feel too happy about that. So that would be how we would make a decision, right? We can look at the vision. We can see is that compatible, and then decide. Okay. Then the mission is how we're going to do that. The mission is what we are going to do every day, such that we can acquire that goal. Let's go over to Tendy. Tendy, do you recall what the mission is?
Hello, can
Yes,
you?
Tendy.
Yeah. So I think the mission is Bukit Vista. Mission is the inspire delight to through hospitality innovation that that transform our guests.
Yes.
Positively transform our guests, employee, and partner.
Okay, great. Hospitality innovation that transforms our guests, that positively transforms, not negatively transform, right? Positively transforms our guests, partners, and employees. Okay, all right. Okay, that's pretty much it, right? So that is the source of your power as a leader. That is the source of power for your KPIs, for everything else. The KPIs by themselves are just numbers, right? But what you're trying to do is you're trying to fulfill the mission and vision of the company through a KPI that creates an awareness of the vision, of the mission through that number, right? So if we're saying that we want to go north, we need a compass to point us to where north is. We can't just say we feel like we're going north, or north kind of like it smells like north is over here. That's not good because then we have conflict. We don't have alignment. So realize this, that the power of a KPI is under the power of a vision and a mission statement. Okay. And if you understand the vision and the mission, then you have more control. You have more leadership potential than if you just control a KPI. If you control a KPI, you're probably just dabbling in the world of project management, right? My project says we need to get this KPI. But if you want to evolve into, let's say, chapter leadership, executive level style, then really understanding the mission and vision of the company becomes very, very important. Okay? All right, so I want to emphasize that. This is what we talk about when we talk about deeply understanding the problem. Okay? All right, next, let's go into the HAR side. Now, this is where we have to ask ourselves, do we have actually a mission that's worthwhile? And the current mission is something like super hosting at scale, right? And the community mission is something like lean, most innovative hospitality company in the world, or most hospitality community in the world. Okay, just really quickly, these are not very well defined. They're very rough right now, but let's kind of see what it is that we need to do, right? Let's see what it is that we need to do that gets us some controls. Super hosting at scale, right? Let's take a look and see if it actually aligns with the mission. All right, actually, the mission could be this. Ta-da! Right? Done. Make sense? So what HAR does is it takes a piece of the overall company mission and then it owns that part of the company mission now, right? So HAR's mission is to inspire delight through hospitality that positively transforms guests. Okay? And community could be a little bit different. It could be that is to inspire delight, uh, is to inspire delight for our guests through positive transformation of our partners. Through hospitality innovation that okay. How about that? The Bukit Vista community mission, okay, like that. The Bukit Vista community mission is we inspire guests through our partners. Our partners need to be part of that equation. We inspire that through hospitality innovation that positively transform partners. So we do something in innovation to hospitality. This gets our partners to become better, and this gets our guests to be more delighted.
Do you think that it is too what's the general, sir? But
It's not
mm,
perfect yet. It's not perfect yet, and this is why this
yes,
is progressive, right? So we have a time budget today of what? We have 40 more minutes to sort of come up with some KPIs, right? But what I want you guys to know is, like I said in the beginning, this is not we built this whole thing in 1 hour. This will be sort of like we build part of it, we got the framework ready, right? This is actually how you develop an MVP. You kind of get something out there that sort of works, and then you think about it. You reflect on it. Does this actually fit to what we really need? And I don't want to give you all the answers either, because then you haven't thought about the mission or the vision very clearly. So I'm just giving you a sketch right now. And what this purpose is that this KPI, this control, this whatever that we're going to reach is a result of careful contemplation. And it'll be your own journey of understanding the mission, the vision that you want guests to feel, that you want partners to feel. Okay? So no, this isn't like the final thing, but we're going to need to work on it from both ends. We kind of know what it is by what we do every day, right? We're doing what we do every day, and we have knowledge that this is helping people. We also need to kind of build what is it that we really aspire to do, right? What is it that connects what we've done in the past to what we're doing now to what we will do in the future? That is the arc of mission, okay? That is the arc of mission. So you need to think about it some more to get it right there, right? So we're actually pre-KPI. We're still on thinking about the mission. But let's go a little bit deeper. Let's say, okay, we don't understand this completely 100%. We need to discuss more. But let's progress to the next stage and see how far we can get before we run out of fuel, okay? So let's go. We kind of know what we want to do. Let's ask our controls. Tendi, what are our controls in HAR? What is it that we can do that affects the guest experience, that inspires delight for guests?
Is it specific HAR or only like host or reservation?
HAR
So
as a
it
chapter.
can be both.
Talk about what the chapter can do. What can the chapter do to fulfill this mission?
Um, by the inquiry conversion.
Okay, right, good. We can do reservation management, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can inquiry conversion. Okay, let's go over next to Andre. Andre, what else do we control?
related to what can we transform our guests, I believe that also uh, maybe start the area knowledge to support their needs
Okay, area
of
knowledge.
the guest needs.
Okay, all right, support guest needs. Okay, I'm going to give you a big hint. It's really just all communication, right? All of what we do in HAR is communication. We communicate knowledge. We communicate to convert. We communicate, communicate. That is what we control. And in communication, there's a few aspects. We control
Audience.
we audience, message, timing, and channel. Okay? And we can make some choices here. What particular audience? And remember, your audience doesn't mean the same person. It could mean the same person during a different phase of their trip. Remember, like what we did pre-hosting, during post-hosting, right? So this is the idea generation. This is like the frame of where more ideas come from. This is the seed pearl where all these other ideas come from. It's mostly around communication. So there could be communication related to, let's say, reservation management, right? And reservation management has things like inquiry, conversion,
Request.
yes, request. This could be review management, even, right? It's all part of, let's say, communication. Area knowledge could be part of, let's say, in part of the live hosting process, right? So this is post reservation. So it could be area knowledge, I don't know, helpful tips, check-ins. These are the things that are there, okay? So that encompasses kind of like the body. This is the first idea, and then from that idea, you can use it to generate everything else. Everything you do in HAR is a communication project, is communication management, if you really think about it. Because there is nothing really you can physically do, right? There's no way that you can actually really go out and oh yeah, actually we do. We have hosts, right? We just haven't had hosts right now. So let's then break that down maybe. The H part and the AR part, right? So the AR part is more of a communication. Air support reservations, that's more of a communication thing. Let's put the host in. What can the hosts actually do? What do the
I
hosts
think
control?
the live hosting, that's
Yeah,
part of
live
host,
hosting,
right?
on-site hosts.
In the above, you already put it.
Wait, give me a
The
second.
live hosting process, yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to create a different section because I think host and air support have different type of controls. Okay, so what can a host do?
Check-ins.
Okay, host has, I guess, live engagement. Okay, so we have check-ins.
Yeah, I think you put already on the live hosting process. You can make it
Sorry,
full host.
sorry. What I
No?
mean live hosting process is during trip process. Yeah.
I see.
Sorry. I didn't.
Because there is a check-in as well there.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say the during trip process and reservations maybe the pre-trip process, right?
Okay.
And you can even think of the post-trip process here, right? And actually, that's probably the easiest way to think of it. The HAR job can be divided by time frames, right? So now you have more clarity. Now you have more structure to fit everything in. And as a leader, you need that structure. You need to be able to organize where everything goes, right? And I think this idea of planning it during the trip process is actually pretty important. Okay, if we have the structure, then we know where essentially the host has most control, right? It's during the trip process. They have the ability to check in. They have the ability to tour. They have the ability to sort of take action. But this action is sometimes limited too. We need to know what the limits are, right? Do they have, what's their budget, right, in terms of time, skill, and money for taking action? Now, some hosts can go and defuse a situation of conflict by showing up, and that's meant to work. But all hosts are different. Maybe they don't have the skill level. Maybe a host has to go and check in 15 guests a day. So maybe they don't have a time budget necessarily, right? Maybe they have a money budget, right? We can't spend $500 to say sorry to a guest. So we also need to define what those constraints are, okay? All right, so that's with the live host, right? Let's now go over to community.
I think I want to add one more.
Yes, sir.
about the preparation of the property, like
Yes,
cleanliness and then the room ready or something,
that
and
is
then they are like a special request.
preparation, preparation, preparation. That is completely community, right? A host has the ability, I think, during the pre-check preacher process to inspect, right? If our hosts are folding sheets and fixing beds and doing that, that's not the best application of our time, right? That's not the best application. We should be negotiating for that during the business development phase, right? If you're finding yourself that you're cleaning a room, that means we have not negotiated the deal correctly, right? So hosts can inspect. I think they can definitely check things before it happens, but they shouldn't necessarily be taking direct action to fix the problem, right? And in inspection, I think they control timing. If you inspect the property a day before arrival, then you have all day to prepare. If you inspect the property 2 minutes before arrival, then that doesn't give you much time to coordinate somebody to fix a problem should the problem happen. All right? So, okay, we have the power of inspection. Great. Community has the power of preparation. Everything we do in community, I believe, is some sort of preparation, right? So, sort of like programs that improve guest experience. So let's not forget, we also have the power of communication in community, right? That's one of our greatest powers. Community communication. So this community communication, it's once again, it's the same thing, right? It's this audience message timing channel thing, right? And what we need to know at the same time is what we do not control. Do we control community engagement, Kendi?
Um, no,
Yeah, right.
from the
Absolutely. We do not
yeah,
control community engagement. That is up to the person. We can get
yes,
better at community engagement, but ultimately the community decides if they want to engage or not. So when we get upset that our plans don't work out, we shouldn't get upset at things we have no control over. We need to get upset back at the things that we did have control over. If the community didn't come to our event, did we select the right audience? Did we give them the correct message? Did we pick the correct timing? Was our channel correct? Right? And as we're learning also this too, the audience might have another audience. Did we pick the right representative? Have we created the archetypes? Have we done these parts, right? So this is actually another part that we should have some sort of control over. This is what inspired me about Ricardo. We have some leadership capabilities, right? We can probably delegate. We can delegate a point. We can celebrate people in the community to help us on our mission to build a better community, right? We do not have control whether or not the community engages to our particular leadership style. You might try to lead, but hey, nobody wants to be your delegate. That's really, once again, that's not up to you, right? So once again, if you fail in that, go back and ask, did you delegate to the right person? Did you appoint the right person? Did you use the right messaging? Did you use the right timing? Was this done through the right channel, right? When we look for those particular things. So leadership is also part of our controls, but it goes back to communication again. And communication is kind of like the root of everything. But the root of communication is also in the messaging, which is related to sort of like your overall knowledge, understanding, and this is why we do professional networking too as well, to improve our messaging, to improve our knowledge. Okay, right. So now that we have ideas of what we control, now let's talk about what we do not control on this particular side, right? For air support, we control the communication. What do we not control for the communication? Andre.
For the communication, I I think we cannot control their time budget about replying back our message
Right.
like
We do
that.
not control the guest response. We do not control
Response, yeah.
their timing. We do not control their message. We do not control their channel even, right? They might write back to us on Facebook a lot of the time. Am I right? Like maybe we have an Airbnb guest, they write to us on Facebook. This happened a lot back in the day. We didn't ever check Facebook. So then we would have missed reservations, right? Based on that. So we do not control when, we do not control what, and we do not control where they will deliver their messages. Pretty simple, right? Okay, and that applies almost across the board for everything. We do not control guest reviews. We do not control when they'll leave their reviews. We do not control if guests will be angry or happy or sad or whatever, but that is in the guest's capacity to control that, right? Okay, during the check-in process, Tendi, do we control guest satisfaction? If the guest is unhappy, do we have control over that?
No.
Right. We do not control guest satisfaction. That's important to know. Because no matter how well you've prepared, no matter how whatever you've done, that's the guest choice. You know, everything could be perfect, but they still might not be happy. It might not have anything to do with you. It's just, they're having a fight with their mom, right? Or they're having a fight with their boyfriend. So no matter how nice it is, it could actually make them more pissed off that it's so nice and they spent so much money on this, and now everything is going so bad. So we do not have control over the guest satisfaction, but we do have control over what we do well. We have control over the check-in. We have control whether or not we do a tour. We have control over a budget of things that we can do to respond to guest dissatisfaction, right? Okay, and this is what my next point is. Once we have controls, then we can start having KPIs. There makes no sense to make KPIs on things that you do not control, right? So we need to get, let's say, all right, an idea around how much our activity is coordinating to help solve a particular problem, okay? So then we take a look at, let's say, the next thing. What are possible KPIs that we can set? Let's just start imagining KPIs. KPIs for guest, for HAR. Let's go and take a look and see what the possible KPIs are. So what are potential measurements to see if we're exhibiting good control? All right, let's take a look. Communication. What are some KPIs for communication, Tendi?
The KPI, the KPI response rate.
Response rate. We control that, right?
Yeah.
We control if we write back to a guest. That's in our control, so that's okay. How about when we write back to our guests? Is that a something that we control?
Yeah, there's and support. There's like there's a SLA for that as well.
Okay, there's a response time. But let's be smart. We've been through this before. It's actually moderated by budget.
Yeah.
Right? It's moderated by our time budget. We cannot have an infinite amount of response time because, you know, we need to go home. We need to sleep. We need to take care of ourselves. So we have a constraint on budget and sort of on the a response rate, there's no budget, right? We should always respond, right? Like that should just happen. But okay, all right. We have response time is a factor of budget. What else is within our communication control? What about messaging? What's within our communication control?
How to measure the messaging?
Yes, sir. What measure the messaging?
Improvement in the intention of the messaging. So if your messaging is intended to convert, are we seeing improvement in that? I think we can control improvement, right? That is actually, wait, let's not forget that. What we can control, I think, is this is even more thing. I think we can control innovation, right? We can control innovation. We can decide when we want to create a new idea. We can decide what new idea we'll come up with. We can decide that. That's actually part of our control. That's part of our mission, is to innovate. So let's go over here too as well. That's part of our control over here. We control our innovation. We say we're going to do this new thing to address this new problem, and we're going to start doing it this time, and we're going to use this way to do it. That is within our control, right? So what we can do is we can say on messaging, have we had an improvement in the intention, right? And is the intention to, let's say, convert? The intention is to respond well to a review, Maybe the intention is to delight and give satisfaction to our guests. Right? These can be ways of improving and innovating the messaging content. Okay? So that's kind of that aspect of communication. All right. What about channel? Is there any way we can potential see if we have good control over our channels?
Maybe from converted bookings or
Right. It's the same thing.
every channels and reviews.
It's the same thing, right? A channel just is a different way of doing all these things, but it's also a budget. We don't have unlimited amounts of budget to serve every channel as well. Okay? So when it's fun to say, okay, hey, it's cool to have Instagram, it's cool to have Facebook, it's cool to have TikTok, but you realize now you've opened up more channels. So now you need more people to service these channels too as well, right? And it becomes actually a little bit harder to accomplish your particular goals, which are inside of the channel when you open up a lot of channels, right? But let's say that's what you want to do. You want to have channel fluency. You want it to be that, hey, we can inspire delight through any channel that you reach us through, right? But just realize that there's a corresponding budget to pay for that particular type of power capability. Tendi, you're nodding. What did you realize?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is like the KPI, because there's like the key performance index, right? So
Yeah.
it's something that we can measure.
Mhm.
So yeah, I still am thinking on the messaging things.
Okay, great. Hey, this is great. I'm glad that okay, so then how will we measure this, right?
Yeah, like a delight and give satisfaction to our guests, like
Very good. Okay,
how we can see that.
excellent question. Messaging is a really tough topic. So the other ones are pretty simple to measure. In fact, Airbnb measures it for us. So we don't need to measure that too much. But let's say you're messaging. There's a few ways that you can measure this, right, Tendi? You can look at exactly what you were doing this morning, right? You're looking at the stack of, you need to have like a visualization of, let's say, the visualization of unconverted inquiries, right? You can see the percentage that belong to each category. And then you can see the percentage change over time to each category, right? So if what you see today is that, 30% of our inquiries are in negotiation, and then over time, it goes down to 20%, it goes down to 10%, it goes down to 5%, then it seems like we're negotiating better, right? That would give you a zoomed out look. And remember, don't forget about using random samples. If it is too big, like I said to you this morning, Tendi, right? We can use NLP or random sampling. If it is too big, then pick some random samples. Say, hey, look, I don't have time, like Sandy Kim, I don't have time to check all 10,000 hotel rooms at the Bellagio, but I can spot check 5 rooms, right? And if these 5 rooms do not have the standard I'm looking for, then I'm going to discard the entire batch and say that we did not pass SLA, right? So you can pick a random sample. You can pick, let's say, 1% of the total and check. And if this stuff isn't right, then all of it isn't right? Because we have to say that, all right, this probably is reflected throughout the entire batch of inquiries, okay? So that's how you can get a little bit more control on the messaging by selecting a random sample set. Nobody inspects, except Four Seasons, right? Because they have smaller number of rooms, but nobody has the capacity to inspect everything all the time, okay? You can use this idea then of random sampling to help you with the idea around community management too, on preparation, right? So when you're talking about community management and the preparation, you can also see if this is working by taking a random sample. And that's a pretty effective method that most large organizations do. Okay, all right. So we can see that there's probably a messaging. Okay, so then you can kind of start picking your KPIs, right? You can say that there's a response time KPI, there's a response rate KPI, and then there's probably a message satisfaction index, right? And this can be a combination of whatever you want to measure, right? This can be conversions, review reply rate, right? Review reply satisfaction, whatever you want. You're going to have to think more deeply about this too, right? How do you actually get this to work? And this is why I said it's a project. We don't need to have all the answers today, but we need to start thinking about what those measurements can be. Okay, all right. Does that make sense in terms of how communication works? Right? Okay, let's do this. Let's keep your eyes for community too as well. I don't want to create another chart, so we'll go ahead, give this a combined title, and we'll call this part of HAR communication. Now, let's talk about community. Let's talk about preparation. Andy, what do you think could be a good figure for preparation?
For the preparation,
Mhm.
or for the KPI, the standard cleanliness.
Cleanliness, very good. Cleanliness is a big one. Actually, you know what? I have a great idea. Let's go to Airbnb. Let's go to Airbnb and see what they actually put into their reviews, and then let's break that down, and then let's see if we can. Actually, let's just go to our own Airbnb page, right? How much time do I have? Okay, I have 15 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead. And what I want to do is this, Tendi. With you and Andre, I want to break down reviews, right? Oh, here's a perfect one. This is beautiful. Kubu Nyang Nyang. Proud, right? Really good. So 118 positive 5-star reviews. This thing gets 5-star reviews all the time. Let's see. Let's see what we're getting rated on. All right. Cleanliness, communication, accuracy, location, value, check-in. Great. All right. What's in the control of community, sir? Tendi.
The cleanliness, the communication.
Okay.
This is from community only, or only community, yeah? I
Yeah,
think the
only community.
cleanliness.
So let's put it over
Yeah.
here. I'll put it right on this paper so that we can study it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What factor? So cleanliness is definitely part of it. Communication?
It's HR, right?
Yeah, that's air support, right? Communication is HAR. Unless there's
I believe
outside communication, right?
Yeah.
Andre?
no. I'm just saying that I believe check-in is included into the community things too, because
Yeah, that's part of
yeah,
the check-in experience. I mean, part of it, Tendi, yeah, is having a host is there is great, right? But you can have 5-star check-ins with no host, right? I mean, it's like a Maslow pyramid, Tendi, right? It's like a Maslow pyramid. If the first levels of the Maslow pyramid are broken, like the survival and the comfort level are broken, broken furniture, dirty sheets, all that, no matter how charming, how aspirational your host is, it will never fix the check-in experience, right? People are still going to be disappointed. Be like, you know what, Tendi? I'd love to have a beer with you. I'd love you to marry my daughter, but I'm not going to stay at this place because this place is nasty, right? So the check-in experience is a bit of a fraction. Part of it is the preparation. And actually, a large part of it is preparation. And part of it is what makes it even better is charm, right? If a host can go and say, hey, welcome. This is our beautiful home. I want to bring you through and show you everything that you need to really experience this to the fullest. And let me to bring you on my bike, show you the neighborhood. Let's go get a croissant together. Let's go eat some cafe au lait, and I'll show you the cinema. You know the check-in really gets raised, but that starts becoming like a 6-star, 7-star check-in. But the base, I think, of a check-in is this listing livable, and does it go wow, or does it go ugh? Right? And that's the basis of a check-in. Okay, so it is part of community's domain. It's mostly community's domain, surprisingly, for the check-in. Okay, location. Anything we can do about the location?
Um,
I don't think so because
Okay,
it's
Okay,
kind of
because it's
fixed.
market building.
right. Location has more to do with communication, right? If anything, it could even go all the way back up to content, right? Is the location been properly described?
Oh,
And then have HAR been properly keeping the guest well expected about the location, right? Nothing to do with
yeah.
community. That has nothing to do with community.
How
So
about the accuracy? Accuracy, sir.
accuracy is, oh, you know what's crazy?
Do you think that's content, right? Do you
Yeah,
think that's
that's probably
content? But
content.
what
No,
community does? It's a
that's a little bit of both. That's a little bit of both, sir. So you
yeah.
know what's crazy? These are your KPIs. We went
Yeah.
along this long journey, but I think we actually found that it's actually pretty short. Of course, there's a little bit more, but okay, all right. These are KPIs, right? It's probably going to be okay. It's mostly going to be cleanliness as a KPI, all right? Check in, I would say that's probably 80-20, right? 80% community, maybe 20% HAR, okay?
Yeah.
Accuracy, I think, is probably 80-20, and that is it's 2080 with listing our content. Okay, so check-in is probably 80-20 split, and this is split with HAR, and accuracy is probably 2080, and this is split with um, with marketing. Okay,
DM.
and the reason why is because what if the place looks like a dump? Right? It didn't look like a dump on the photos. What if the pool is green? Right? It didn't look green on the photos. It would look beautiful on the day we shot it. What if the place has a construction site in front of it? Right? Um, it makes you wonder, right? Like what like Villa Tortoise, for example. So that is community's job, I think, to detect that and to issue content. Hey, change that, please, right? Because without that signal, content won't know. But also, like without communities should look at a photo of the listing and ask themselves, does this look like this photo every day, right? And if it doesn't, why not? And I think that could be a really good way to start a conversation with an owner. Does this look like, do you look like the day you first got married? Right? If not, then maybe you need to go lose some weight, or you need to go and go get a haircut, or whatever it might be. So I think this could be a good, yeah, community does have some control over if the accuracy is going to be delivered in particular cases, right? Not in cases where it's grossly misrepresented. Like, this is near the beach. No, it's not. You have to like walk 10 miles to get to the beach. That I think is a gross misrepresentation. But when it's slightly off because of a maintenance issue, then it's because community did not create the correct set of preparations. Okay, all right, great. Why don't we just use the Airbnb KPIs, right? I think they're already there. So makes life easy, right? Like okay. Value. Does value belong to community or to
This is
HAR?
value about the money or the price of the or value of the place, like
Value is the price I paid versus what I got, right?
the
The
expectation
price I
versus
paid.
the reality
Yes.
or expectation.
Expectations over price.
Value. I think also this is related with the accuracy, sir. So what we set the expectation on the listing, and then it should be the accuracy is great, so that will be make the value is worth it for the.
Okay, let's break apart value, right? What does value actually mean? Value is usually expectations divided by price, right? Expectations divided by price. If you have high expectations and it's a high price, then it's good value for you, right? It's like, okay, that's what I expect. But if you have low expectations and it's a high price, then the value is terrible, right? Wait, no, wait. No, that's not true.
No expectation, it's more good
Yeah,
than the high expectations, sir.
Okay, value relation to price. Wait, let me see. I need to get this right. Value, price value relationship. I need a quotient. Quotient. I need a quotient because I need to figure out what we need to control. Value relation to price, quotient. What is value? Value. Oh no, sorry. It's what you get divided by what you pay, right? But it's a little bit more. It's not what you get. It's how happy are how much do you like what you get? Right? So if I give you a bar of chocolate as it's kind of like this, right? How would I put this? How would I put this? Yeah, it's a little bit tough. Okay, let's just say what you get divided by what you pay. That's a little bit more simple, right?
Yeah, this is about the like mostly like the simple one is like worth it. Is it worth it or not like that, right?
I know, but we have to break it into two different
Yeah.
parts because when we break it into parts, then it's easier to control. So essentially, okay, what you get is like, let's say it's the service and product divided by the price. Okay, let's say that's
I think from my side, what you pay divide what you get, sir. So you paid and actually what you get when you stay.
yeah. So okay, what you pay and what you get. Yeah, that's it. But what you get is at the top because high value is if you get a lot and you pay a little. That's high value, right? Like here's a BMW. This costs you $10. That's like whoa, great, right? That's great value. The opposite is you pay $1,000,000 and you get nothing, right? You get like a piece of paper. That makes you like super upset. So what you get divided by what you pay. Okay. Let's ask ourselves the question: does HAR control or community control what the guest pays?
I think from the community itself, so because it's related to the partners, and we can't really do what
Partners,
happens.
right? But who negotiates pricing with partners?
Revenue will
It's
be more.
RM.
Yeah, revenue management negotiates pricing with partners. So what you pay is not part of the value satisfaction, right? That's not really there. Okay. What you get. Okay, now let's break it down into what you get in terms of a trip. What you get in terms of a guest experience. What do you get? You get a place. You get a location, I guess. You know, place meaning like the thing built on the location. And then there's the things inside, right? And then there's maybe the people and the community around it. Like a Maslow pyramid again, right? When we talk about valuing an experience from the guest side, it's really just these things: the place, okay, the home, hotel, whatever it is, the things inside the place, the amenities, you know, like the breakfast, whatever is there. The location, is it in a good location where I feel like, hey, this is a cool location, there's value to it. This is where I want to spend my time on my holiday. And maybe the people in the community that I get to meet out of it, right? So
The service.
that's probably the people community, right? That's part of the things that are they're experiencing. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's put service inside because I think service could actually be part of this. What is inside the place itself? All right. So then the question is: does HAR community have any control over these things? Do we have control over? Does HAR have control over the place? Can they build the place? Can they service the place? Can they? They don't, right? Okay.
If you break this down like this, it's mostly like community, sir, because it is
Right.
all related to the service what the community have, what the community offer to us, and what can we offer to the guests.
Right. It is community. Okay, all right, good. So it looks like it's probably value. Value is not entirely community. It's probably another 20-80 split, and it's split with revenue management, right? Because the big part of value is price, and community doesn't control price, not directly at least, right? Maybe they can get an owner to talk about price with a revenue manager, but they don't really control price. Okay, all right. So there you have it. These are what I call are probably external KPIs, right? These are KPIs that are reflected in the outside world. Now, the reason why I said And you guys need to understand this too as well. There's things called macro and micro. Does that word ring a bell? Macro versus micro. Go over to Andre. Andre, what is
What do you
macro?
mean, sir?
Okay, so a macro KPI is essentially the
Yes.
KPI that is posted up there right here, right, on Airbnb. And a micro KPI is how are you going to create a program to deliver that KPI and what are you going to measure along the way to see if that is successful, right? So let's say, for example, cleanliness, okay? Cleanliness, you have a macro KPI. That's your overall cleanliness score. But let's say you're working in community, then you have micro KPIs, right, inside that. So let's keep on going. Micro KPIs could be, let's say, for example, we're going to use cleanliness as an example, because this is a great example. Cleanliness. So you're going to break down this KPI into, let's say, using hospitality standards, right? Right. Then you can say, what is the percentage of community engagement to my program? What is the percentage of community re-engagement to the next version of my program, right? You can see what is the percentage of pass rate on a random selection, right? I don't know. These are all micro KPIs, right? These are KPIs that support the overall KPI so that when things break, you don't go, the whole thing's broken, I need to fix everything. You go, okay, the thing that's really broken here is that I don't have enough people participating in my hospitality standards, right? The thing that's broken here is that whatever it might be. So you have a way of actually fixing it, right? You have a way of fixing one problem that helps fix the bigger problem, like a hierarchy of solving problems. That's a micro KPI, okay? Let's say, for example, maybe it's on check-ins, right? Check-ins are going bad. You could have a percentage of guests met during their stay. That could be a KPI. You can even break that KPI into percentage of guests met right during check-in, right? Because that's more impactful than coming in 2 days later and say, "Hey, I'm your host," right? I know you're my host, but I found out everything I needed myself. Okay, so you might want to experiment to see actually what KPI is actually more relevant to improving a guest check-in. It could be, I don't know, number percentage of maybe percentage of morning greetings sent to guests, right?
I
What you
think that's more to SAR, sir, not community.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. That's a good point. Yep. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. Hmm. Right. There you go. That would not be a communication thing, actually. That would be more of a HAR live host metric, right? So that would be D. D. And maybe this part of the morning greeting, that could be a communication thing. Okay? So these are your micro KPIs. These are ways, actually, the really good question is now this. Do you see where this is all connecting? This should be all connecting down to, this is an initiative level KPI. This is a chapter level KPI, right? So everything you do should have an initiative, right? If you really want to get the response time, if you really want to get, let's say, the response time and the response rate down, what initiatives are you doing to actually do that, right, Tendi? Right, Andre? Do you have any initiatives, or are we just hoping that people will remember this and forget? This is your evolution to go into this as operators. Once you have all these things figured out, once you have these capsule cars encapsulated that have KPIs on them, you can delegate these initiatives to other people. You can go to them and say, "Hey, look, I have an initiative on creating the response rate. I don't need to talk to you about it. Everything is there, right? your goal is to get this type of behavior. Your resources are here. This is what your budgets are. Go and make it happen, right? And then you don't need to train anybody anymore. Or whenever you train, it's more directed, right? You can even attach training videos onto the Trello card in the future. This is a perfect best practice already. The training is here. All the things you need to know are here. So please open this card every day, create a card for yourself, and let me see what you're doing, right? And then you can see on their initiative card, let's say next person, let's say I don't know, Bob, right? Bob is working now in HAR. So Andre is managing Bob. And Bob has an initiative card that he's going to hit the KPI for his response rate and his response time on the 2 profiles that has been assigned to Bob. Everything is there. The goal is there, and Bob will track it. You'll track it. Maybe we can even get Vidi, somebody to like visualize all the stats so that it's ported in. You can see what the high level KPIs are, and then you ask Bob, all right, tell me what your micro KPIs are, and then you can figure it out. Then you can manage a lot of people. You can manage hundreds of people this way because you don't need to like whatever, right? Who needs attention? You can see what each person is doing, and each person's goal is very clear. Okay, tied back up again, right? Pretty cool. Okay, so this is not done yet. This is just a sketch, like I said. I think we've run out of time. We've gone over 2 minutes, in fact. But I want you guys to now go into this. And once again, you don't have time for it because you guys have that 2 things on the community card that you're going to do already, right? But maybe tie this in, actually. Tie what you're doing right now in CSC, in training, and in bigger inquiry to a particular goal that you have, right? So Tendi, you're teaching people bigger so that they become more autonomous. Why? So that you don't have so much like, people coming to you ask for ETAs and silly things like that. Why? So that the community is better prepared for guest check-ins. Ta-da! Right? So that is actually a KPI that helps. That's a project that helps support check-ins, that helps support your mission of preparation. Okay, so now it's all kind of congealing together to a bigger picture, right? And you guys should feel, wow, this is exciting. So now you're building the bridge on both ends. You're thinking top down and you're thinking bottom up. How do I push this up? Okay. Okay, we need to come and discuss this more until it gets more solidified. So what I'd like to do is I'd like Tendi to make this a card, right, on leadership, okay, because this is a leadership level discussion, okay? This is, I think, this is at least a project management level discussion. So what I need, Tendi, because I need you to get more engaged with leadership, right? I need you to create this topic, put it on your card, and we will refine it over time. And we will get everybody to start looking at these things and also think about this too as well and refine their KPIs over time. And eventually what will happen is you will distill down to very, very specific key things that you need to do that have the highest impact. Maybe we don't need to do morning greetings. Maybe that's not the highest impact to actually get guest satisfaction. Maybe we'll discover something else, right? But that's how we innovate. We come up with a program, we measure the program's impact on our final KPI using micro KPIs, and then we ask, does this actually help get us a better score? Okay? All right. So that's a journey, and there's many broken parts here. We need to refine our mission. We need to get more clarity, but at least we've built some framework. We have a construction site, and we need to come back to this construction site over and over until we have a finished product. Okay? Okay. All right. Great. Gentlemen, have a great day. I will upload this video as part of leadership training, and you will get